Sales are falling at McDonald's, the fast food restaurant most of us grew up with. Even rehabbing and adding latte machines hasn't brought in that much new business.
The world's most hated fast food chain is finally facing consequences that started with their food but became something much bigger. While you were complaining about soggy fries, a much bigger reckoning was building, one that could end their reign forever. But it's not what you think. Remember when McDonald's was the place where broke college students could grab a meal without checking their bank balance twice? Those days are officially dead and buried. The cost of McDonald's fries has skyrocketed by 138% in just 10 years. That's not a typo. We're talking about the same soggy potato sticks that used to be pocket change. What used to be America's most affordable dining option now prices out the very families it built its empire on. Low- and middle-income households are doing the math and walking away. When a Big Mac meal costs more than $15 in some cities, you know something's gone seriously wrong with the value menu. Here's the kicker, though. Fast food inflation hasn't just been bad. It's been brutal compared to how much workers actually earn. While McDonald's prices shot through the roof, paychecks crawled along like rush-hour traffic. The gap between what people make and what a quarter-pounder costs keeps getting wider every month. McDonald's tried throwing some Band-Aids on this mess with promotions like their $5 meal deals. Sounds great on paper, right? Well, even these desperate attempts to win back customers aren't working. People have already made up their minds and started cooking at home or finding cheaper alternatives. The damage was done. The real problem runs deeper than any single promotion can fix. Most Americans simply don't see McDonald's as the affordable option anymore. That golden reputation for cheap, quick meals, gone faster than the ice cream machine breaks down. Parents who used to take their kids there as a weekly treat now calculate whether they can afford it, like they're planning a vacation. McDonald's accidentally priced itself out of its own market. The brand that made its fortune being the everyman's restaurant now feels more like a luxury expense to the families who used to be its biggest fans. When your core customers start viewing your food as too expensive for regular visits, you've got a serious identity crisis on your hands. But here's the thing. Even if McDonald's suddenly slashed all their prices tomorrow, they'd still face another massive problem that's been quietly driving customers away for years. But pricing alone doesn't tell the whole story. McDonald's has another problem that hits even deeper than your wallet. Remember when McDonald's burgers actually tasted like something? When you could bite into a Big Mac and feel like you were getting real beef, not something that came out of a factory assembly line? Those days are basically over. The golden arches might still look the same, but what's between those buns has changed dramatically. The meat patties have gotten thinner over the years, much thinner. And it's not just your imagination playing tricks on you. McDonald's quietly reformulated their recipes, adding more fillers and binding agents to stretch the beef further. What used to be a quarter pound of actual meat now feels more like cardboard with seasoning sprinkled on top. Then there's the ingredient list that reads like a chemistry textbook. Remember when food had 5 ingredients you could pronounce? McDonald's current menu items contain preservatives with names that would make your high school science teacher proud. Sodium phosphate, calcium propionate, ammonium sulfate. These aren't exactly what Grandma used in her kitchen. The fries tell an even sadder story. McDonald's used to cook their fries in beef tallow, which gave them that distinctive taste millions of people loved. Now they use vegetable oil with artificial beef flavoring. The difference is night and day, but only if you're old enough to remember how they used to taste. Portion sizes have shrunk too, though McDonald's won't admit it. The Happy Meal toy might be bigger than the actual hamburger these days. Customers notice when their medium fries barely fill half the container, or when their chicken nuggets look like they went on a diet. But here's the weird part. McDonald's keeps claiming they're improving quality while making these changes. They announced fresh beef for Quarter Pounders in 2018, but most of their menu still uses frozen patties that taste like they've been sitting in a freezer since the Clinton administration. All these recipe changes have stripped away the nostalgic connection people had with the brand. When your Big Mac doesn't taste like the Big Mac you remember from childhood, you start questioning why you're even there. Makes sense, right? And the quality issues go beyond just taste and ingredients, extending into concerns that affect how people view fast food entirely. A few months ago, I had no idea what a health ring even was until my fiancé got me one, and I have to say, I'm shocked this isn't a widely known and used product. It tracks my stress levels, and what I found out is that some supplements made my stress score spike, while others actually helped bring it down. I adjusted a few things based on that, and honestly, I feel 10 years younger. My wife mainly uses it to track her menstrual cycles, and she is obsessed with her sleep quality score. I noticed they are currently running a limited 69% discount, but I don't know how long it will last. It's currently only $60, and it's clear this one is the best bang for your buck, with other health rings priced around $350 with less functions. They managed to price it this low because they cut out the middleman like Amazon, Walmart, etc., who drive up the price and take a big margin, ending up with the customer paying 3 to 5 times more. If you are on TV, you can check it out yourself by pausing the video and scanning the QR code with your phone camera or clicking the first link in the description of this video. The biggest shift hitting McDonald's isn't just about money or taste, it's about health. Americans are finally connecting the dots between ultra-processed fast food and serious health problems, and McDonald's is getting left behind in the dust. Studies keep piling up, showing links between regular fast food consumption and obesity, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease. The research isn't pretty. When people see headlines about how processed meat increases cancer risk, or how excess sodium destroys your cardiovascular system, that Big Mac suddenly looks a lot less appealing. Parents, especially, are waking up to what they're feeding their kids. Those Happy Meals that seemed innocent enough? They're loaded with sodium levels that would make your doctor cringe. A single kid's meal can contain more salt than a child should eat in an entire day. The apple slices feel like a weak attempt to balance out the rest of the nutritional nightmare. Then there's the ingredient list itself. McDonald's food contains chemicals most people can't even pronounce, let alone understand why they're necessary. Preservatives, artificial flavors, emulsifiers, stabilizers. The burger patties have dozens of ingredients when real ground beef should have exactly one. Meanwhile, the organic food movement keeps growing stronger. Whole Foods, farmers markets, and even regular grocery stores are expanding their organic sections every year. People want to know where their food comes from and what's actually in it. McDonald's can't compete with that transparency because their supply chain is built around mass production and long shelf life, not nutritional quality. Plant-based eating is exploding, too. Younger generations especially are choosing meals that don't contribute to factory farming or environmental damage. McDonald's tried adding some plant-based options, but their core menu still revolves around heavily processed meat and dairy products that health-conscious consumers actively avoid. The irony is thick here. McDonald's spent decades marketing itself as convenient family food. But now families are specifically avoiding it to protect their health. Parents who grew up eating McDonald's are breaking the cycle with their own children. Well, health concerns aren't the only reason people are staying away. The restaurants themselves have undergone changes that left many longtime customers feeling completely alienated. Remember when McDonald's felt like a magical place? Those bright red and yellow play places with twisting tubes and ball pits that made kids go absolutely wild. The colorful murals of Ronald McDonald and friends plastered on every wall. Birthday parties where your mom would book the whole section, and you'd feel like the king of the world. Well, kiss all that goodbye. McDonald's decided sometime in the 2010s that fun was apparently bad for business. Out went the play places. Too much liability, they said. Gone were the whimsical characters and bright colors that made the place feel alive. Instead, we got what corporate types love to call modern simplicity. What does modern simplicity actually look like? Picture walking into a dentist's office, but with burgers. Gray walls, sterile white counters, and furniture that looks like it came from a minimalist catalog. The new McDonald's stores feel colder than a freezer, and about as welcoming as a tax audit. But here's the kicker. Nobody asked for this makeover. Parents who grew up with the old McDonald's magic brought their own kids, expecting that same sense of wonder. Instead, they found a place that felt more like an airport terminal than a family restaurant. The shift wasn't just about removing play places. McDonald's systematically eliminated everything that made their restaurants feel special. Those iconic red booths, replaced with hard, uncomfortable seating that practically screams, "Eat fast and leave." The warm, inviting atmosphere that kept families coming back for decades, swapped for cold efficiency that treats customers like they're on an assembly line. Even the staff areas got the bland treatment. Gone are the days when working at McDonald's felt like being part of something bigger. Now employees stand behind sterile counters in environments that feel more like laboratories than restaurants. And the weird part is, McDonald's spent millions on this rebrand. They hired fancy design firms and conducted focus groups. Somehow, they concluded that what people really wanted was less joy and more beige. The timing couldn't have been worse either. Right when competitors were doubling down on experience and atmosphere, McDonald's went the opposite direction. While other chains were creating Instagram-worthy spaces and unique vibes, McDonald's chose to look like every other corporate chain restaurant. But the design disasters weren't McDonald's only problem during this period. Bad press hits different when you're the biggest name in fast food. McDonald's has been dealing with more negative headlines than a politician during election season. The lawsuits keep piling up like Happy Meal boxes in a dumpster. Workers across the country have filed complaints about unsafe working conditions and unfair pay. We're talking about burns from faulty equipment, wage theft allegations, and harassment claims that make front-page news. When your employees are literally going on strike at locations from coast to coast, that's not exactly great marketing material. Then there's the ice cream machine situation. What started as customer complaints turned into a full-blown internet meme. The machines break down so often that someone actually created a website tracking which locations have working ice cream. A website for broken machines. The Federal Trade Commission even launched an investigation into why these things fail more than a freshman's first algebra test. Viral videos don't help either. Fights breaking out in restaurants. Customers finding weird stuff in their food. Employees doing unsanitary things behind the counter. Social media amplifies every bad moment into a national conversation. One gross video can reach millions of people faster than any advertising campaign. The cleanliness issues hit particularly hard. Multiple locations have faced health department violations for everything from rodent problems to employees not washing their hands. When people see news stories about cockroaches crawling around food prep areas, they're not exactly rushing to grab a Big Mac. McDonald's also can't seem to escape criticism about their business practices. Environmental groups target them for packaging waste. Health advocates blame them for childhood obesity rates. Labor rights activists point to their employment practices. It's like being the punching bag for every social issue in America. The weird part is how these stories stick around longer than good news. A positive story about McDonald's might get a day of coverage, but a scandal can dominate headlines for weeks. People remember the bad stuff way more than the charitable donations or community programs. Each negative story chips away at the brand's reputation. Parents who grew up loving McDonald's start questioning whether they want to take their own kids there. Trust takes decades to build and seconds to destroy. But workplace drama and broken ice cream machines are just part of a bigger picture. The real threat to McDonald's dominance comes from how the entire food landscape has changed around them. McDonald's used to own the fast food game. Now, they're getting crushed from every direction. Chipotle charges about the same as a McDonald's meal, but gives you real chicken and fresh ingredients. Five Guys costs more, but their burgers actually taste like beef. Chick-fil-A somehow manages to be polite and fast. Meanwhile, McDonald's is still trying to convince people their gray patties are worth $12. But the real competition isn't even other restaurants anymore. Walk into any grocery store and you'll find ready-made meals for $3. Rotisserie chickens for $5 that feed a whole family. Frozen pizzas that taste better than anything McDonald's puts out. Why drive somewhere to overpay when Walmart has dinner waiting? Then there's the delivery revolution that completely changed the game. DoorDash and Uber Eats didn't just make ordering easier. They made every local restaurant feel as convenient as McDonald's. That hole-in-the-wall Thai place? Now it's 30 minutes away instead of never. The family-owned burger joint with actual flavor? Suddenly, it's competing directly with the Golden Arches. And here's the kicker. People are cooking again. The pandemic forced everyone to learn basic kitchen skills, and many discovered something shocking. Homemade food tastes better and costs less. A pound of ground beef makes 4 burgers for the price of 1 Big Mac. Crazy concept, right? McDonald's keeps trying to win back customers with gimmicks like the $5 meal deal, but their competitors already moved past price wars. Panera figured out people want bread that doesn't taste like cardboard. Subway reinvented itself after years of bad press. Even Taco Bell embraces being weird and cheap instead of pretending to be something they're not. The health-conscious crowd flocked to places like Sweetgreen and Freshie. Families with kids discovered that Culver's has better burgers and working ice cream machines. Young people obsess over viral local spots they found on TikTok. McDonald's response? Serve the same food in slightly different packaging and hope nobody notices. The brutal truth is that McDonald's became lazy. They assumed their brand recognition meant they could charge premium prices for bottom-tier quality. They thought people would keep coming no matter what. Well, people did keep coming to their competitors. When everyone else offers more value, better taste, or healthier options, McDonald's monopoly on convenience becomes worthless. The empire that built itself on being fast, cheap, and everywhere is now slow, expensive, and irrelevant.